Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Umineko When They Cry. So last episode, we had good or very nice conversations between the different characters, right? Butler talking with Kyrie last time. They were discussing that there might be a 19th person in this island, right? The one that gave Maria the letter. But for Kyrie, she doesn't believe that. She just believes that it's probably one of the 18 people here, right? That gave the letter to Maria. Maybe dressed up differently and stuff like that, right? And then we also saw our first evidence of the gold, right? Kinzo's gold, Beatrice's gold. We saw an actual gold bar last time. So Kraus showed Natsuhi the gold, and I guess, yeah, they had the conversation there as well. And Natsuhi kind of felt, I guess, bad. I don't know the word, because Kraus didn't tell her about the gold until now, right? So Jessica is right here. She sees her mom coming outside of the room, and let us continue.
なんだよ、こんなところに。幽霊かと思ったぜ。
Just like always, her words were rough and not at all like a girl's. Instinctively, words of rebuke rose to Natsuhi's throat. However, their strength gave out and they didn't escape her lips.
ジェシカ、ごめんね。母さんは頭痛がひどいの。そっとしといてくれる。
Yep. They did mention last time, right, when Kraus was talking to Natsuhi that Natsuhi did something back then? They did mention something like that, right? And she's always having headaches. So what is the reason?
そう。
Jessica was seeing her mother in a position of feebleness for the first time, so she was considerably disconcerted. Until just now, she'd been filled with contempt for all of the parents, including her mother. But now those feelings had been completely swept away. Her mom, utterly exhausted face, had wiped them all out. In its place, the words George had told her floated back up in her mind. Our parents are doing their best in their own way. And because their families are counting on them, they can't afford to keep everything pleasant and have a heavy responsibility to fight. Maybe her mother had been standing around in this dimly lit hallway because no one had tried to understand that in her. Jessica hated her mother, so she had no intention of speaking kindly to Natsuhi just because she was looking a bit frail. So when she attempted to speak kindly to her mother anyway, she had to clench her fist and gather up the words from deep in her heart.
ずいぶん立て込んだ話をしてるようじゃん。お前には関係あります。よそへ行っていなさい。頭痛ひどい？あ、私薬もらってこようか。構わないで結構です。
Yeah, why is Natsuhi's hair like that, by the way? You see that? No, different color. Like on the front, it's brown, right? And on the back, it's still kind of brown, but a little bit more to the red side. Something like that, right?
お願いだから一人きりにして。
Natsuhi wasn't being cold. She just wanted her daughter to go far away so that she wouldn't have to bump against Natsuhi's own short temper. But there was no chance that Jessica would realize this. Jessica hung her head, looking sad. Seeing that expression, Natsuhi recognized the kindness that Jessica was trying to muster. She gave her head a small shake to drive away her own unkind feelings.
じゃあ私行くよ。大人の邪魔にならないようにいとこたちと一緒にいるから。じゃあお待ちなさい。
She called Jessica, who was trying to leave and looked lonely, to a stop.
気遣いをありがとう。お前を残して寝込むわけにはいきません。よせよ。縁起でもないぜ。 心配をかけました。もう大丈夫です。私は行きます。
If I let my daughter see me this feeble any longer, I'll only make her feel more uneasy. With that thought in mind, Natsuhi left Jessica with words of gratitude and made to depart. This time, Jessica called out to her mother's back. Natsuhi stopped and turned around asking what business Jessica had with her. But Jessica herself didn't know why she stopped her mother. And for a while, she smiled, really muttering to herself as she hesitated over what to say. She was poking around in her pocket when her hand touched something and she took it out.
さ、母さん。私さ、今日お守りもらったんだよ。なんだっけな、魔除けだったっけ?
Oh, she's gonna give the charm that she got from Maria. So basically, the charm was what again? Like protection against like magic or something, yeah?
確かその、ドアンノブにぶら下げてるといいんだっけ。忘れちまったぜ。私が持ってても仕方ないし、母さんにあげるよ。
It was a scorpion charm that Maria had given her on the beach. Although she'd heard of its various effects from Maria, Jessica's mind had gone blank and she was just barely able to say even that much. Jessica, thinking that her mother probably wouldn't accept it anyway, immediately drew back the hand she had stuck out grasping the charm. So when Natsuhi came back to take it, she was extremely shocked.
これは何かの景品？まあその、私も多分そうだろうと思ってるけどよ。こんなおもちゃみたいなお守りじゃご利益は期待できねえよな。
But her mother took the charm from where she grasped it in her hand.
ありがとう。大切にします。ジェシカには今度、私が子供の頃大切にしていたお守りを代わりにあげましょう。別にそんなつもりで渡すんじゃないぜ。でもまあどうしてもって言うなら。では私はもう休みます。頭痛がひどいので。ジェシカもあまり夜更かしをしすぎないように。
Sure. Natsuhi put the charm in her pocket and turned away. So guess what? Okay, I'll guess right that Natsuhi is gonna survive, I guess, the initial what do you call it again? What is that again? First epitaph? Not the first epitaph. Twilight of the first thing. What's it called again? This one. First Twilight, Sixth Chosen. She will survive at least this one. Yeah, she will survive that for sure because now she got a charm and it's from Mario, right? She then disappeared into the dark hall.
やっぱり明日も丸一日こんな天気みたいだね。
やれやれ。今日の日中が嘘のようだぜ。
George, Aniki, and I were killing time in front of the parlor television. At that point, Jessica returned. Her face was still blank, but it looked like she'd calmed down a little since we'd last seen her.
マリアはまだ肖像画前？
いや、さっき戻ってきて、今はそっちのソファーで寝てるぜ。マリアにはもう遅い時間だもんな。
Looking at the clock, I saw it was a little past 10 p.m. Even if we were planning to stay up all night, it was about time to head back to our room.
一応うちのおふくろが屋敷にも部屋を用意してくれたんだけどよ。どうする？
僕はゲストハウスに戻りたいかな。親たちの様子を見る限り 僕たちはお屋敷にいない方がいいと思う。
Okay, so they want to go back. So if whatever happens here, it's gonna happen in the mansion, right? And they're not gonna be here. Like for example, it's gonna be the next morning, right? And then they're gonna come back and they're gonna be like, "What happened?"
俺も同感だぜ。子供は邪魔せず引っ込んでろって感じみてえだからな。おとなしくそうするさ。
As we were talking about this, Aunt Rosa came into the parlor. She was looking all over restlessly, probably trying to find Maria.
ローザおばさん。マリアならそこのソファーっすよ。
ありがとう。すっかり眠っちゃってるわね。ベッドに移さないと。
よかったら僕がベッドまで背負っていきましょうか。
ベッド。
ありがとう。助かるわ。ジョージ君たちはゲストハウスに戻るの？それとも夏日姉さんが用意してくれた部屋に泊まるのかしら？
今話し合ってました。ゲストハウスへ戻ろうかって話になったところです。
そう。ならマリアも一緒にしてあげてもいいかしら。いとこのみんなと一緒の方がきっと安心できると思うしね。
Behind those words, she seemed to be concealing some regret that the adults herself included had deeply hurt Maria's feelings.
任してくださいよおばさん。何しろこっちにゃマリアをあやすことに関してはエキスパートがいるっすからね。
それは僕のことかい？僕だけじゃ無理だよ。みんなでだよ。
そうだぜ。バトラだってあんなにもマリアと意気投合してふざけ合ってたじゃねえかよ。
As we said this, Aunt Rosa smiled, looking truly happy.
みんなありがとう。私たちの話し合いはだいぶ遅くまでかかりそう。だから申し訳ないけどマリアをみんなにお願いするわ。
おーいマリア、熟睡か？ゲストハウスに戻るぞ。
Maria muttered something indistinct, rolled over and fell back asleep. It looked like she was sleeping deeply.
すっかり寝込んじゃったようだぜ。起こすのは悪いな。
うん、僕が背負うよ。
Maria's body was much lighter than it looked. I lifted her up and put her on George Aniki's back. It was raining hard outside, and Aniki couldn't hold an umbrella and carry Maria at the same time. It looked like Aunt Rosa would come with us as far as the guest house to help out. However, when she heard Uncle Krause's voice call out to her, she had no choice but to return. Okay, so everyone except the kids, I mean the kids are gonna go back, and everyone is gonna be staying here at the mansion.
困ったわね。もう戻らないと。
皆さんゲストハウスまでお戻りですか？
What is Shannon? Shannon looks like a puppy. The way she smiles, I mean. After we left the hall on the way to the entrance, the door to the servant room opened and Shannon-chan stepped out.
だいぶ暗くなっておりますので、私がご案内させていただきます。
ちょうどよかったわ、シャノちゃん。ジョージ君がマリアをおぶっていってくれるの。傘をさしてあげてくれないかしら。
はい、かしこまりました。
Shannon-chan brought umbrellas for each of us and a flashlight to guide the way. As he opened the front door, the downpour was quite terrific. It looked like we wouldn't have any spare time to take a pleasant walk and enjoy the nighttime rose garden.
兄貴、重くねえか？俺が背負うぜ。
大丈夫だよ。 マリアちゃんくらい背負えるよ。
本当にありがとうね。マリアをよろしくお願い。
わかりました。じゃあおやすみなさい、おばさん。
それではお送りしてまいります。ええ、よろしく。
Aunt Rosa watched us leave.
マリア、いつもごめんね。
Okay, Aunt Rosa. Is Aunt Rosa gonna be one of the 6 sacrifices? Rosa's mumbling voice didn't reach the person in question, nor any of the kids, but disappeared beneath the sound of rain. But yeah, as what's his name again? Rudolph, Butler's dad. I think 100% he will be there for sure. He will be, I guess, one of the first victims, and Kraus. Yeah, both of them I'm sure of. Rudolph and Kraus, for sure, both of them. The other 4, I guess, I'm not sure yet. Kraus being the head, he's the main target, that's for sure, right? After cutting through the rainy rose garden, we arrived at the guest house.
俺がマリアを背負って立候補すりゃよかったぜ。そうすりゃ傘を差してくれるシャノンちゃんのでっけえお胸を二の腕でたっぷり堪能できたってのによ。
Come on, Butler. Come on, sir.
そんなつもりじゃないよ。誤解だよ。
そうしないとジョージ様が濡れてしまうと思いまして。
Oh, I guess what George was doing is, yeah, he was carrying Maria. Let's say front or back, right? Put her in his back, or or carry her in the front, and then Shannon was carrying the umbrella. Okay, so that's why Butler is saying this. He's joking around again. That's why.
ほーら、バカなこと言ってないで入るぜ。
And then George is, yeah, he's what do you call this? Shy. Yes, because of that. After being urged on by Jessica, we folded up our umbrellas and went into the guest house.
お召し物を濡らしてしまった方はいらっしゃいませんか？タオルを用意いたしますが。
そこまで気を使わなくていいぜ。ありがとよ、シャノンちゃん。
そうだ。僕たちはこれからトランプでもして少し遊ばないかって話なんだけど、よかったら少し一緒しないかい？
She's gonna say no. I need to go back.
あれ？今日のシフト、深夜勤は誰になってんだ？
親族会議中は特別シフトになってたと思いました。少し変更も出てるみたいなので、ちょっと確認してきます。
ああ、わざわざ屋敷に戻らないとわからないんなら無理に。
大丈夫です。ゲストハウスの使用人室でわかりますので。ちょっと失礼しますね。
Shannon-chan gave a quick bow and went into the guest house servant room. The rest of us headed for the cousin's room and decided to put Maria to bed for the time being. Maria was sleeping very deeply and there was absolutely no sign of her eyes opening. For now, we'd get some soft drinks out of the room refrigerator and drink those while playing cards or something.
Are? カノン君？源氏様までこちらに。今夜のシフトはどうなっているのでしょうか？
クラウス様の命令があってね。シフトの大掛かりな変更があったんだよ。
ゴーダがお屋敷の深夜勤に変更になった。シャノンとカノンはゲストハウスの深夜勤。私と熊沢はゲストハウスに泊まるようにとのご命令だ。
Okay, Shannon, Goda-san now has the night shift. Shannon and Kanon have the night shift in the guest house. Kumasao-san and I have been ordered to sleep in the guest house. So the only one in the mansion right now is Goda. Okay, so all of the servants are here, basically.
お前も今夜はこのままこちらにとどまるよう。たった今電話があった。
Okay.
ずいぶん大掛かりな変更ですね。お屋敷とゲストハウスの当番がまるっきり逆になってるじゃないですか。
Originally, Shannon and Connor had been assigned the night shift in the mansion, while the night shift in the guest house were all of the relatives that were staying. Wait, what? While the night shift in the guest house, where all of the relatives were staying, had been assigned to Goda. Okay. Who had an abundance of experience in entertaining. So they shifted it now. They swapped it. So is Goda gonna die? Goda, he's gonna go. Kumasawa should have been sleeping at the guest house, while Genji should have been sleeping in the mansion. However, it seemed that Kraus had suddenly ordered that the schedule be modified. I guess Kraus wanted as little of the servants in the mansion, right, as possible, right? I guess that's why he switched it up. The shift at the guest house and the mansion had all been reversed, and Genji was spending the night in the guest house. I guess Genji was here because, yeah, Genji is pretty much like Kinzo's right-hand man, basically, right? So Kraus didn't want him there.
多分ベアトリーチェ様の手紙のせいだろうね。
多分ってどうして？
あんな怪しげな手紙が現れたらクラウス様が僕たちを疑うのは当然だからね。
Yes, see? Yes, that one.
親方様直属の僕たちを極力親族会議の席から遠ざけたかったんだろうよ。
Yeah, he does not trust them, and then Goda, him being I think 1 year, what he was only here for like 1 year or 1 year still, right? Compared to the other one, the other people here, the other servants that has been working here for years. He wanted the one that is not, I guess, close to Kinzo that much yet. Genji, Shannon, and Cannon were all permitted to wear the Oshiramiya family crest, the one-winged eagle, as the servants who served directly under Kinzo. Of course, since they were working for the Oshiramiya family, they had to obey anyone's orders, but their only boss was Kinzo. Since only Kinzo held the right to employ them, even Kraus could not have them dismissed of his own accord. Because of this, Kraus and the others often viewed the servants as Kinzo's underlings and shunned them. And in fact, Kinzo seldom let anyone other than them enter his study. This sudden shift change was probably a clear expression of the sense of mistrust that had caused. Considering the time Kinzo had left to live, this would definitely be the last family conference before the problem of the inheritance came up. On top of that, the mysterious letter that claimed to be from Beatrice had dropped in out of the blue. Kraus definitely wanted to keep Kinzo's loyal subjects away from the table of such a delicate, important mission or discussion.
ではすまんが、私は向こうでくつろがせてもらう。もし何かあったらすぐに呼ぶように。今夜のお客様は特別だ。
はい、かしこまりました。源氏様。
Genji nodded back, went behind the screen, took off his jacket, and slowly began to relax after a day's worth of tension.
今お戻りになられたのはお子様方？
親族の方々はお屋敷で会議を。だいぶ長引きそうな雰囲気だったかな。
なら気楽だね。これ以上の深夜になって、しかもこの天気。多分親族の皆さんはお屋敷の方のお部屋にお泊まりさ。
多分ね。源氏様がいないから言うけど、ゲストハウス行きになってちょっと嬉しかったかな。
ふん。どうしてだい？意地悪な奥様やエヴァ様から離れられたから？それとも別の理由があるのかい？
別の理由なんかありません。
そっか。なら2 二人で深夜勤を頑張ろう。よろしく姉さん。
私ついさっきお子様方にお部屋で遊ばないかとお呼ばれしてて。
Shannon hung her head apologetically, gazing at Kanon uncertainly. Kanon didn't try to meet her eyes and spoke curtly as he sighed. It looked like he didn't plan on indulging his sister.
ダメだよ。深夜勤を仰せつかってる。それに僕たち家具には遊びのお誘いは必要ない。わかるね。
そんなこと分かってます。
Shannon's shoulder drooped slightly. She had already expected that Kanon, a stickler for rules, would say something like that, but she still seemed a little discouraged. As Kanon flipped through a logbook, he spoke without facing Shannon.
ならお子様方お待たせしてしまってるね。深夜勤に当たってしまったからご一緒できないと謝ってこなきゃ。行ってきなよ。
私謝ってくるね。
Shannon hurriedly stood from her seat before her brother's mood could change and flew out of the servant room after giving a quick bow. As he watched her go, Kanon took a single deep breath. Genji's voice came from beyond the screen.
カノン、私がここにいるからお前も行くといい。
源氏様、誘われたのはシャノンだけです。僕は別に誘われては。
その場にいなかったからお声をかけられなかっただけだ。言えばお前も誘われている。
Okay, that's only because you were not there in time.
たまには子供らしく遊んでくるといい。
いえ、僕には必要ない行為です。人の子には遊びも必要でしょうが、僕らは家具ですから。
そうか。
姉さんだって家具です。人のふりをしたって後で苦しむだけなのに。僕はそれが分かっているから人に。
Genji did not say anything after that. After a while, he stood up and used a pot of hot water to make powdered cocoa, serving some to Kanon as well.
そりゃ本当かよ。そりゃ知らなかったぜ。
Wait, what?
バカ、声が大きいぜ。マリアが起きちゃうだろ。
Butler was so surprised that he yelled obnoxiously and scattered his cards everywhere. His voice caused Mari to turn over once, but she soon fell back into a deep sleep. Jessica gave him a jab and he lowered his voice.
いや、しかし言われてみれば確かにそれっぽい雰囲気はあったんだよな。なるほどな。ジョージの兄貴がな。
George couldn't be seen anywhere in the room. A short while ago, when Shannon came into the room, George suddenly said that he'd forgotten something in the mansion and he needed to go back and get it. Shannon said she would guide him just like she had on the way to the guest house, and the two of them departed together.
いや、昔からそれっぽい気配はあったんだぜ。好きなものを聞いてきたり、趣味を聞いてきたりさ。単に関心を持つだけにしてはどうもなんて思ってたらよ。
そういや、昔からジョージの兄貴は シャノンちゃんにやたらと優しかった気がするぜ。なるほどな。
Okay, let's see. They're gonna go back, right?
Oh. 天気予報によると今夜が一番ひどいみたい。明日いっぱいも止まないらしいけど、もう少しマシになるそうだよ。
そうですか。では明後日までは船は来られないかもしれませんね。ジョージ様の月曜日のお勤めに差し支えが出ないか心配です。
台風が来ていることは知っていたからね。万一に備えて月曜日には予定を入れなかったから大丈夫さ。こう見えてもスケジュールは先読みできるタイプなんだ。
George puffed out his chest, acting proud. Compared to the calm appearance that George always had as the oldest cousin, he now looked amusingly like a little kid. I mean, he's with Shannon, of course. Shannon chuckled at this abrupt contrast.
さすが、やがては会社を起こされる方はしっかりしていますね。
やっぱり会社を起こすというのは大変だね。お金とかそういうのだけじゃないものがとても大事だって父さんのところで勉強していてわかるよ。会社を起こすということは城を持ち部下を率いるということ。うちの父さんは秀吉って名前だけあって戦国武将のエピソードがとても好きでね。
Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a very, very famous general. And did he become Shogun? I think Shogun as well, right? The Toyotomi?
会社経営の哲学をよくそこから語るんだ。知ってるかい？戦国最強の騎馬軍団と恐れられた武田信玄も最初は部下たちの結束がバラバラで統率力をまるで発揮できなかったんだそうだよ。
Takeda Shingen. Dude, I love that character. At least in, what do you call this? I mean, that person is real, right? So I played like games like Sengoku Basara, Samurai Warriors, if you know that game. I always use him, and also Yukimura Sanada.
そうなんですか？なんだか意外ですね。
信玄は部下たちを結束させるため数々のリーダーシップを発揮してるんだよ。例えば戦場で武功を立てた部下に対しすぐその場で褒章を与えたり、普通こういうのは戦が終わってからまとめてやるものだからね。それを戦場の本陣の中にいながらまめにやり続け、部下の武功を素早く評価しやる気につなげたというのは非常に大きいことだよ。それから部下が病気で伏せった時には誰よりも早く駆けつけお見舞いをしたとかね。武田信玄は戦国最強の騎馬軍団を率いただけじゃない、戦国一の部下思いの人だったんだよ。
そんな方だから部下の皆さんもついてきてくれたんですね。
The truth was, Shannon had already heard this story several years ago. But whenever discussion of his father led to this sort of topic, George would always glow and look like he was having a great time. Shannon just smiled without interrupting, urging him to continue.
確かに資本主義の世界ではお金は力で石垣の高さでもある。でもね、戦も城も自分一人じゃ成り立たない。大勢の部下に支えられ、その力を借りて初めて成立するものなんだよ。それを理解してから父さんの背中を見ると、自分がいかに未熟で父さんがどれほどの切磋琢磨をして今日を築き上げてきたかがよくわかるんだ。
ジョージ様はお父様のことをとても尊敬されているんですね。羨ましいです。
ごめん、別にそういう意味で言ったんじゃないんだよ。
By the way, where is Shannon's mark? Her crest. Yeah, the Oshinomiya crest. Where is it? I can't actually see it on the outfit here.
すみません。
I mean, they did say earlier
私も別に
though.
そういう意味で言ったつもりは。
Yeah, they did say earlier. Shannon, Cannon, and Genji has the crest, right? The two of them awkwardly looked at their feet. Shannon had no parents. She had been brought up in an orphanage owned by Kinzo called the Fukuin House. Under the guidance of Kinzo, their honorary director, the orphanage offered members who excelled a chance for an on-the-job serving experience. If their efforts met with Kinzo's approval, they'd be able to leave the orphanage and work as servants for the Oshinomiya family. This was considered the highest honor for those who lived in the orphanage. Servants from the Fukuin house all took names with the character On in them while they served. So Shan On wasn't her real name, okay. The same went for Canon, okay. That's why their names were rhyming. All of the members of the Fukuin house were orphans. At least they were all people who had been separated from their parents under special circumstances. Because of this, the orphans had been taught to think of each other as only family. That's why it seemed so natural to both of them when Canon called Shannon his sister. And while both Canon and Shannon were working in the mansion today, there were several other servants possessing the On characters in their names, such as Manon and Lennon. Wait, what? Wait, there's more people here? Manon and Lennon, who often worked in a rotation schedule. Ah, okay, so Manon and Lennon are not here. So rotation schedule, so for example, I guess this week it's Canon and Shannon. Next week it's these guys. I'll probably like that, right? However, there were not many servants who stayed with the Oshinomiya family for long. It was standard for them to quit after 3 years. So you could probably say that Shannon, who had been working for 10 years, was a notable exception to the rule. Working as a servant for the Oshinomiya family was a heavy burden to bear, but the pay wasn't bad at all. Working for 3 full years would earn more than what was needed to enter mainstream society. That was why, even though the orphans realized what a harsh task working for the Oshinomiya family was, they still hoped to be accepted. Maybe the fact that Shannon managed to continue working for 10 years wasn't because she had more willpower than the other servants. Maybe she'd gotten stuck working for 10 years because she didn't have the courage to say she wanted to quit. Kinzo couldn't even trust his own blood relatives, and those excellent servants sent from the Fukuin house were the only ones he could rely on. Because of that, Kinzo would sometimes allow them to wear the family crest as servants under his direct control and have them work close to him.
もう勤めて10年近くになるんだっけ？だいぶお金も貯まったんじゃないかい？
どうでしょう。別に私買いたいものも特にありませんし、ほんの何百万かあったってそれで残りの人生を過ごせるわけもありませんし。
So she got a few million yen already. Damn.
目標の額があってお勤めを続けてるわけじゃないのかい？
How old is Shannon again? They didn't say it. Did they say it? But yeah, let's assume like yeah, over 20 for sure. Maybe like 22, 23 years old, something like that.
そうですね。私はこのお屋敷以外に行くあてもありませんし、お嬢様とも他の使用人の子たちとも仲良くやれてますし、奥様には時折お叱りを受けますけど、バラの世話やお屋敷のお掃除も楽しいですし。
でもそれはシャノンちゃんのサヨちゃんの人生じゃない。
Sayo-chan. Oh yeah, they mentioned Sayo-chan, right? I remember this. Who called her Sayo again? Did I forgot who called her that in the beginning, right? In the first few episodes. Shannon cast her eyes downwards when she heard her real name. She understood what George was trying to say and fell silent. Does it say it here though? No, let's check the characters again. Sayo. It doesn't say here. Yeah, nothing. No info or anything.
僕は成人し社会人になってからも勉強して分かったことがある。子供の頃僕らが思っていたほど人生は単調で短くないんだ。
All school-age kids have certain fears they can't shake. They wonder whether they'll live the rest of their lives like sleepy classes after a monotonous and boring school day. Spending their time in a carefree laziness without anything interesting happening until it's all over. However, life's only like that for underage students. Underage. Compared to a human's life, the times they spend as students is nothing more than a blink of an eye. A period where they break through the shells of their immaturity. The inside of the shell might be a hot, suffocating, and boring world. But the world beyond that shell is vast and filled with limitless possibilities.
君の人生はまだシャノンという殻の中でしかないんだ。君は自分の人生がこの生活のままずっと続いていくと勘違いしてるんじゃないかな。
それは
Shannon couldn't deny those words. She'd been unable to harbor any clear doubts about her lifestyle. And since she's never had hope or goals for changing herself, she'd lazily continued living the way she always had. And if asked whether this life was satisfying, she wouldn't have been able to nod. She may have been intentionally averting her eyes from the truth. Without George's admonishment, she would have continued pretending not to notice as her real life slipped away bit by bit, neglected.
ジョージ様、私はこのままでいてはいけないのでしょうか。
いけないよ。あ、それから今ルール違反が一つあったね。
George immediately gave a strict answer, then broke out into a mischievous smile. Shannon already knew what she was being chided for, and she hung her head again, apparently embarrassed.
僕たちしかいないときは様はなしの約束だよ。
約束では聞けません。ですが、ご命令でしたら聞かないわけにはいきません。私は家具ですから。
じゃあ命令だよ。
はい。かしこまりました、ジョージさん。
George-san now, George-san. As Shannon hung her head, her face red, she said George's name again, this time using san.
それでいいよ、さよちゃん。
Okay, I'm gonna always remember the Sayo-chan. Shannon is named Sayo. George smiled at Shannon, no, Sayo, to praise her small act of bravery. The short exchange alone made it clear how far back their relationship must have stretched. For a long while, the two talked as if the weather raging about them didn't even enter their thoughts. They talked about how many memories they'd built during their relationship that no one else knew about. Every once in a while, a flash of lightning would attempt to interrupt them, but this could sully neither the rose nor the time they spent blushing at each other. That was it?
そうだ。君に見せたいものがあって。
なんでしょうか。
George, who had been speaking eloquently, suddenly started to stutter. Watching him, Shannon seemed to guess something. George timidly searched through his pocket. Something got caught in the depths of his pocket, and just like that, the stuttering George, it took a little while to get it out. It was a very small box covered in deep blue velvet. The peculiar shape was enough to tell anyone what was resting inside. Okay, I get it now. A ring, small box, right? Like George is proposing here? Shannon had prepared her heart somewhat, certain beforehand that this was what he had been planning. But even so, when she actually saw it, she couldn't avoid blushing once more. George opened the small box, took something out, and held it out for Shannon to take.
これを君に受け取ってほしいんだ。
このような高価なものは、お受け取りできません。
受け取れない。
いえ、こんなもの、私には、過ぎていて。
さよ。これはお願いじゃない。命令だよ。この指輪を受け取って。ね。
命令では従わなくてはなりません。
うん、そうだね。いい子だよ。
Shannon, not wanting to show her bright red face, timidly accepted the ring from George's hand while staring at the ground. That ring wasn't a simple accessory. It was a noble object meant since ancient times to be offered to a special woman under special circumstances. Therefore, while George could order her to take it, he could not order anything beyond that. Anything beyond that would depend on, not an order, but on Shannon, no Sayo's own will.
だから、ここからはもう命令じゃない。さよ。明日までに、言葉でない形で、返事がもらいたい。わかるね。
どうすれば。
Did imagine that, right? They got married? Like, even if Eva knows this, I mean. Your mother-in-law is Ava. Ava makes fun of Natsuhi, right? Imagine what she'll do to Shannon?
もうこれ以上は命令じゃないから、僕は君に命令はしない。でも、指輪は指にするものだからね。気に入ってくれたなら、好きな指につけてくれればいい。
Shannon had only pretended not to know. She already understood what he wanted her to do. But she was standing at a huge crossroads of her life.
もうこんな時間だね。今夜はこれくらいにしよ
う。George turned away from Shannon, acting just a bit bluntly.
君に左手につけてほしいと命令することもできるかもしれない。君も命令されればそれに従えるという臆病な甘えがあるかもしれない。でも最後のここだけは君のさよの意志でしてもらいたいんだ。わかるね。だからそれが命令。今夜よく考えて、明日その返事を見せてほしい。
Shannon nodded back. Today was a culmination of their many days spent together. This moment certainly hadn't come as a surprise to Shannon.
そろそろゲストハウスに戻ろうか。これ以上遅いとみんなを心配させちゃうよ。
すみません。私、お屋敷にいようを思い出しまして、お屋敷へ行かねばなりません。
Oh hell no, don't go to the mansion. We don't know what's gonna happen there.
こんな時間に本当かな。
George stared into Shannon's face as he laughed mischievously. He definitely saw through Shannon's lie. However, when he saw how she felt, he could sort of understand that she might be so embarrassed that she'd want to be alone. So because George realized the meaning behind Shannon's lie, he accepted it. But yeah, I want to know the backstory. Not backstory, but like they only meet, I guess they're meeting outside, not outside yet, but whenever they visit this place, right? They're meeting out of season, I suppose, right? Because yeah, dude, you just don't propose to someone like just like that, right? Shannon entered the entrance hall to the mansion with tottering gates. A mixture of exaltation and uncertainty gave her a feeling that she couldn't easily describe. It swelled up in her chest until it felt like she was about to burst. After stopping for a second in front of the servant room to take a deep breath and calm her heart, she opened the door. So I guess maybe we'll see that. I guess scenes with George and Shannon, I guess leading up to this one, to George's proposal, like, right? So maybe in another episode, right? Not this episode, as this episode is pretty much an introduction, I guess, to each and every character, right? So I can't wait to see that. Like, why did George like her so much? All of that stuff, right? Inside, Goda, who had been ordered to take the midnight shift at the mansion tonight, was absorbed in a worn-out crossword puzzle magazine. He looked up for an instant to see if one of the family had come, but when he realized it was a fellow servant, he returned to his puzzle as if nothing had happened.
源氏様より郷田さんのお手伝いにつくように言われてまいりました。
ああ、そうですか。それは助かります。そろそろ戸締まりの見回りに行きたかったのですが、ここを開けてもいいものか困っていたのです。何しろ旦那様方の会合はまだだいぶ続きそうですからね。いつ何時お茶のご用命があるかもわかりませんし。
そうですよね。ではどうしましょうか。私が留守番を。
ではシャノンさん、申し訳ありませんが、お屋敷内の見回りをお願いします。私はここで親族の皆さんのご用命の待機をしておりますので。
はい。
Shannon was slightly disgusted. Even though she'd come here to help out as a favor, she was casually being forced to do the job of the person actually in duty. I mean, yeah. Just like last time, right, when Goda did that as well. He basically put Shannon in a position that Shannon would get embarrassed, right, with Natsuhi there and Ava, like in the second episode, I think. Furthermore, after one-sidedly forcing that task on her, Goda returned to his magazine once again and became immersed in his crossword puzzle. Shannon bowed her head as a token of sign of respect for her elder and then left the room to patrol the mansion. Thanks to her being a bit ticked off, she managed to suppress that floaty feeling she'd been having until just now. And anyway, she couldn't let Genji or Kanon see her looking like this. She wanted a little time to herself until her heart calmed down, so maybe going on patrol wouldn't be so bad. She began to hear the tumultuous voices of the family's discussion coming from the dining hall. Someone was speaking at great length, only to be interrupted by someone else. The second person also began to speak in a very long, drawn-out fashion until yet another person interrupted. They kept on repeating. It was as though their displeasure was seeping out through their voices. She had been told to go to the guest house, so it would be bad if Kraus discovered her. Thinking this, Shannon dashed past the dining hall. Then she went along a prearranged route through the dark mansion, checking that all the locks were secure. She walked down the hall, checking each window. There were no humans on Rokinjima other than those connected to the family, so locking up didn't really serve much of a purpose. No one had been in the habit of locking up at the Oshirimiya head family, at least not until Natsuhi had scolded him for being careless. The metal fixtures on the windows were ice cold, and as she checked them one by one, the glow in her heart seemed to cool down. Okay. It begins. Oh no, yeah, but Shannon is here. At the time, she thought she saw something twinkling across the hall. Twinkling? How could anything be twinkling through the darkness of the hall? She figured she must have been imagining it, but she still held her breath. Grasping a curtain, she fearfully gazed down the hall. However, other than the occasional crack of thunder brightening the hallway, she was unable to glimpse any flicker again. It must have been her imagination after all. Maybe her heart was so agitated that she'd seen something that didn't even exist. Shannon went back to checking the window. However, a certain unnerving memory was resurrected in the back of her mind. It was that the ghost story which had been passed down amongst the servants who served the Oshirimiya head family. The mansion had two different masters, one day and one of the night. Beatrice, the master of the night, would sometimes fly around the mansion in the form of sparkling butterflies. That was the story. Come to think of it, didn't Kanon-kun once say he'd seen it with his own eyes? Though he got sulky when I said he must have imagined it and refused to believe him. Could it possibly be true? The roar of thunder gave no answer. Oh yeah, then silence, right? Nothing now. Please, don't. Please not Shannon. She just had a nice scene there. Big mistake going back there, right? Okay, no dialogue. I'm looking at it. I'm looking if it blinks. Rudolph. No dialogue. They're just showing the characters here. Oh no. Yeah, they better take Goda. Chio. I think we're in the half point how do we call this? Halfway point of the game? Something like that, right? I mean, sure, like last time, like a couple episodes, pretty much is like starting, right? Like the story is starting there, but I guess now it's gonna be the real deal. I guess after the scene. Like it slowly started when we got the letter, right? From Maria. Yes, slowly from there. Slowly. And then yeah. Here we go. It's moving. It's morning now. What time is it? 6 a.m. The sacrifice is chosen by the key. Wait, second day only? It's only been a second day. How many times did they had dinner? Okay, let's take a break here. Yep. Let's take a break there. So how many characters were in the mansion? Let's check again. So we got Kinzo here, number 1. Kraus, number 2. Natsuhi, third one. Ava, the fourth one. Hideyoshi, number 5. 6, Rudolph. 7, Kyrie. And I guess Nanjo is also there. Is Nanjo there? Probably not, or probably not. Rosa, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we got Goda there. This one, Goda. And Shannon. Dude, I feel like Shannon is gonna get cut here, right? Like, you know how these games work. It's gonna be like super tragic. Come on. Yeah, on the first Twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key sacrifices. Shannon is gonna be one of them for sure. Oh my god. But yeah, I think it's gonna be one. No, one. My sure now. Sure characters that are gonna get eliminated. Let's say eliminated, right? It's gonna be Rudolph. He is pretty much like saying that he said by tomorrow, right? I will be killed. He was saying something like that. Kraus as the head successor, I mean. For sure he's gonna go. For sure. Ava, she'll probably still live at least until this first Twilight. Evil people live all the time, right? So she'll probably still be alive. Hideyoshi, I don't know. The other ones, I don't know. Shannon, I think Shannon will die, man. She will be gone. That was a bad mistake going there in the mansion, right back there. But yeah, they better take Goda though. This big guy, get him out of here. For the ladies, I think Natsuhi will survive, at least right now, because she has the charm from her lovely daughter Jessica, right? Kyrie, Rosa, at least one of them. One of Kyrie and Rosa is gonna die, but I'm leaning more onto Kyrie, right? Because I'm thinking of Rosa, her connection to Maria. Maybe we still need her, at least for now. So yeah, my guesses for now is gonna be Kraus, Rudolph, and Shannon for sure. Out of the 6 ones in the first Twilight, yeah, first Twilight 6. At least 3 of them is gonna be my guesses. And let's see what happens, right? Okay, so we're gonna continue this and do more of Umineko When They Cry in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.